probably when the church was moving here. I think this was probably built for a Sunday school of about 100 still.
Yeah,
there?
probably. Yeah, that's right.
So what do you think I reckon we had 40 in the senior department.
When you moved here?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So the Bramall, yeah. So you're saying 200 when you came to this building?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how many people at the Sunday church at the moment, or is there a Sunday school system?
Yeah, there is still the same, similar system. Yeah, not the same, but similar. And there's probably about 50 children in all that we have contact with, but they're never all here at the same time. So, you know, numbers fluctuate wildly between Sundays. So it could be anything between 10 and 40.
They seem to be building up, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They went down.
More now than we did have some years ago.
So the number is increasing once again.
It is at the moment, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, what do you remember? I mean, what do you think of the new church building compared to the old one?
Obviously you get used to things pretty quickly, so I did get used to it and look upon this now as Sion, you know.
Of course.
The old Sion is just sort of a distant memory.
So,
really.
I mean, initially when you started to come to the church, I mean, what was your memories of the link with the church and the community itself?
I think probably in the 1960s, maybe there wasn't as much community involvement, and that's gradually increased over the years. I remember at one time, I'm a nursery nurse, or I was a nursery nurse, and I ran a playgroup here, Sion playgroup, and that catered for children from, in the air, all the children in the area. It didn't matter whether they came to church or not. And that ran for a few years.
And do you feel that played a very good role within the community?
Yeah, I think so. Parents sort of became interested in things that were happening in church, and quite a few sort of started coming to church or bringing their children to Sunday school, or junior church as it was called after that. So yeah, and a few people sort of kept in touch as the children grew older.
And you mentioned earlier on as well, Clifford was talking about the services or the parades that used to happen. I think there was something that you were about to mention. I can't remember what it was.
I think I was probably just repeating what Clifford was saying about, yeah, we always had a walking day, and yeah, that carried on right into the new. I'm not sure when that faded out really, but quite a while ago. But we also used to, Sion had a very big girls, well, it was called Girls Life Brigade then, and a big boys brigade. And we also hosted other girls brigades and boys brigades to all meet in our church and parade through the town, because we were central. Big parades of the girls and boys belonging to these groups. Battalion parades, that's it. We used to parade through town as sort of the youth of the town, a bit like the scouts and guides and things maybe still do now. I think some of them do.
Has the community changed over time from the early memories that you have surrounding Sion Baptist at the moment?
A lot of the people from the church come from way away from it. I mean, there's not a lot live on the doorstep. You know, they travel in, a lot of people.
So the early people were a lot who lived close by to the church?
Well, there is a play group here that doesn't belong to the church, you know, that they have the building let off to them, and they come in and from round the back there, the community round there, and they use it. But as for the people who come to the church, they're mixed. mixed bunch because they come from far afield, you know, they're not just local. That's what I'd say, wouldn't you?
That's right, whereas in your kind of childhood...
In my days, when we were younger, they all come from, say, Fulledge, round the back of near Thompson Park and round there. They all used to come from round there.
It was sort of within walking distance
Walking
for
distance.
everybody. Well, people didn't have cars in those days, so you had to walk. I know we lived maybe a couple of miles away, but we walked 3 times a day.
Used to walk past football fields 3 times a day.
How long did it take you to actually get to the church, walking?
Can't remember. I don't know, but quite a while. Yeah, because we had church in the morning, then Sunday school in the afternoon, and then evening worship. And when I became a teenager, we used to have meetings at the minister's house. After Sunday worship, the teenagers used to go and have discussion groups and things like that. And there was quite a good crowd of teenagers at the time.
So there was a lot of link with the young people.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
Involvement with the church.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that would be one of the biggest differences between where we are today and where things were back then in the 1950s, that families and children were going to church then in numbers in a way that they don't now. So that's a big kind of social change that's gone on through that time, so that now, you know, there'd be a fairly small proportion of the population who are coming to church on a Sunday, whereas then it would have been much more, and therefore there was much more contact with young people as they were growing up and were coming to Sunday school, you know, every week and so on. Whereas, you know, that difference between 300 years ago and 40 odd now, and we're a church that's doing well. There are churches that don't have any children or young people in some cases now. So it's a big social change that's gone on. And I think it'd be interesting to hear from Sheila and Clifford about in your childhoods. The picture I get from people is that if you were growing up in the church, you were here almost every day for some reason or another.
Yeah.
Well, there used to be an institute. Well, they call it institute or whatever they call it. It was Monday, Thursday and Friday every night, and all those nights till about 10 o'clock, from about 7 you could go and play games and things, snooker, badminton, table tennis. And I used to go to night school and call in on my way back at about 9 o'clock. Anyway, young lad.
I just remembered something about the old building, which, and I know Clifford was involved in this, called the Salvage Drive.
Oh yeah.
Can you remember the Salvage Drive?
That was
when we were raising money to build a new church, we collected from everywhere, all over the community.
Shops and
newspapers, piles and piles of newspapers, and in the old church, the whole of a big room was covered in mountains and mountains of old newspapers.
And
we
then they
could climb on.
got a building on Bank Parade, didn't they, to store it in?
Yeah, yeah, and that
Just
was
to raise money.
how we raised money, or part of the way we raised money. And everybody in church was involved in going out collecting this salvage from places.
They had a van to do it as well.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I mean, are there any other memories that you have of the old and
Of the
church?
old one.